Hello, my name is Linda Lopez. I am in English 114, section CN1, right here in Sand Hills Community College. I have written a report about my major, the culinary arts, and I have written about some of its history, how it developed and changed over time, the many sub-careers that are within the industry, organizations that support it, and the responsibilities and expectations within my field. Some of the things that I discovered while researching my career is the variety of changes that have happened since the beginning of the culinary industry. Of course, whether it be methods of preparation, apparel that we use to demonstrate our professionalism within the kitchen. It all started as a passion of producing flavorful foods and providing the best hospitality to the customers. It all began as a royal delicacy. Of course, we understand that the royals had to be treated in an honorable and respectful way. If not, they were beheaded. And on cooking, Levinsky, House, and Mortal do say on page 4 that the French claimed that the first restaurant was opened by Monsieur Bollinger in the 18th century. Now, I didn't write this in the essay, but the Asian cuisine is many times overlooked. There are many ancient methods of preparation that the Asians used that are used today. And in fact, they are given very little credit because the French tend to take most of the credit regardless. And the word restaurant derives from a French word restaurer, meaning to restore, and it used to be used. It was used since the 16th century as a method of describing highly flavorful foods such as stews and soups. At the time, of course, Marie Antoine Carême was a French chef. He had actually worked in under a mentor after having been abandoned in the streets, and he used to work for a king and cook for a king. And as he continued forth in his career, he was the one who popularized the cold cuisine. He designed kitchen tools, equipment, and the uniforms that we use in the industry today. However, the one who created the working system for the kitchen was Auguste Escoffier, and they call it Escoffier's Kitchen Brigade. The culinary industry is not limited to just culinary and baking and pastry arts, of course. Many subcategories include, of course, dividing it among the pastiers, the vinaigres, and so on and so on. Nowadays, it is divided also by the front of the house and the back of the house, and the back of the house is divided by the different subcategories such as the grill operator, the fry operator, the saute operator, and the garde manger, which is what I happen to be. The garde manger is, well, back then, referred to the guard of the pantry. It was foods that were prepared cold, in the pantry, in the kitchen. Now it refers to understanding the cold kitchen art, the art of the cold kitchen, such as like salads, hors d'oeuvres, sandwiches, and even desserts. And of course, another thing that I also discovered was college education is encouraged, but it's not necessary. Of course, a lot of things that are taught in the culinary school are unrealistic. The extent of having so many things going on in the kitchen at one time is almost virtually impossible. Of course, you have to go in mindful, open-minded, and being willing to move forth with a strong character. In fact, some of the responsibilities and requirements whenever you enter the industry is to be willing to fail, because you're going to fail a lot in the culinary industry. And I don't like to see it as like you're failing, even though you are, but rather like a learning moment. Of course, what that means is that you're going to prepare so many new things, and you're going to try to come up with so many new methods of preparing things. You're going to mess up regardless. It does not matter how great of a chef you are, you will make mistakes, and you have to be willing to stand up, move forth from it, shake the dust off, and move on. Not everything's going to come in the desired way. Not everything's going to come out our way. And a chef must always be clean, bathed, or showered. Always have a clean uniform, sanitized and clean knives, sharp, and with a straight blade. There's nothing more dangerous in the kitchen than a dull knife compared to a sharp knife. Horseplay is heavily frowned upon, primarily because half of the equipment, if not all the equipment in the kitchen, is actually deadly, very deadly. And of course, multitasking is heavily stressed, primarily because you don't want your food to burn. Another thing I also remembered that I was told during my studies here at Sandhills was that refrigeration was not accessible back then, which I obviously knew that. However, what I didn't know is the fact that foods were heavily seasoned and sauced to be able to mask the pungent and strong, unpalatable flavors of rotting foods. Sometimes the meats were so tough, they were very hard to chew. Thankfully, food has gone from being that disastrous to being fresh and actually very palatable. And of course, training is necessary. In fact, a lot of the training can be done from home. You don't necessarily have to be in front of a professional to do it. And some professionals might want to kill me for that. But knife skills are very, very important. If you don't know how to hold a knife, if you don't know how to keep a straight blade, if you don't know how to have a steady hand, then it's not worth pursuing forth. A lot of people think that knife cuts are just for a pretty presentation on a plate. No, it's for even cooking too. And if you are unable to pursue pretty knife cuts, as some people may describe them, which, I mean, they are, then you're not going to move very far. And some of the organizations that support my field happen to be the, like I said earlier, the National Agricultural, according to the National Agricultural Library, is the United States Department of Agriculture and the American Culinary Federation, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. It happens to also be like on all the chef coats of all of my instructors. And then there's the United States Personal Chef Association. And they all support my field, among many others. And one of the conclusions that I have come after researching through my major, about my major, is that this is what I want to pursue. There's always room for improvement, and there's always something new to learn. And that's what I enjoy. I love a challenge. And that's exactly why I look forward to growing and improving as I continue forth in the culinary industry.